Hello and welcome along to our special preview of the 2016 BMW Hong Kong Derby. It's a race that's steeped in history here. It dates back to 1873 and it's been won by some of the best horses to have ever graced this turf.
Mecca Pura Star's too good, he wins the Derby.
Holy Grail wins it from Commander Charlie. Elegant Fashion goes to self-split, draws a length on Vengeance of Rain, runs away, wins by 2. What a great 4-year-old Viva Pataka does, wins the Derby.
Battle King lunges, oh, close in the Derby. Collection wins the 09 Derby in brilliant fashion. What a great season Ambitious Dragon's having, and there's Derby Glory. Designs on Rome with his head in front, he's edging away, and Designs on Rome wins the Derby by... Godfly giving chase, Luger just in front, Purton relentless here, and he gets Luger home in the Derby.
Coming up on today's show, we're going to be catching up with our resident experts, Paul Larry and David Morgan, for their thoughts on this year's Derby. We'll speak to Zach Purton as he guides us through how he won the race last year on Luger. And we're also going to be talking to John Moore about the runners that he's got engaged and past Derby glories for him. First of all, though, let's have a look at the field, the 14 runners engaged in the 2016 BMW Hong Kong Derby. Up the top of the field is Sun Jury, who's trying to create history by becoming the first horse to win all 3 legs of the 4-year-old series. He's beaten Werther in both of those races. Can Werther turn the tables on him? Blizzard has been so gallant, he's trained by Ricky Yu, who's never won a Derby before. Down to Consort, of course, one of the most expensive purchases to have come from Europe. Can he turn his form around after a couple of lacklustre efforts so far here in Hong Kong? Victory Magic's never won a race, but is trying to become the first horse in 26 years to break his Hong Kong maiden in the Derby. Eastern Express has been working his way nicely through the ranks here in Hong Kong and performed very well in the Classic Cup last time out. Lucky Girl, a surprise entrant in the Derby. OK, we're going to analyse the Derby shortly, but first of all, let's get the thoughts from all the key players in the race.
Yeah, sure. They're good gates for this race. So I think that the jocks will be able to do what they would like to do from there.
How have they progressed since the Classic Cup?
Horses seem fine. I mean, they've had a bit of racing and they've done a fair bit of work and hard yards to get here. But I think they've still got another run in them. So I'm pretty happy with them.
Well, I can't complain. You know, obviously my best chance of the other 3 is Giovanni Canaletto. He's joined 7. I think it makes no difference for him because he got no early speed. He's a horse that you have to ride a very patient race. He's nothing until the last quarter, really. You know, the race doesn't really start until when he hit the final turn. And I believe he's in tip-top condition. He's ready for this race.
King Genki and Green Dispatch have both shown good speed in their races. Would you like them to go forward?
Well, King Genki, obviously, you see all these races in France. He's always up in the pace. He's always a leader or a second, and he's going to be that way as well. And Green Dispatch, you know, last time we ran with the blinkers, I think was a big upset. We shouldn't have run that way. This time, you know, he's nothing but a 2,000 mile and a quarter type of horses, you know. So I got all 3 of them are a mile and a quarter horses. And I believe they all will run a big show tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, we've done a huge amount of fitness work since his last run. His last run clearly showed me he was low on condition. And I've been really impressed with his progress since his previous run, and even very surprised how he's taken it. He's thriving, he's in a good place mentally, and I think with the change in the track conditions as well, I think he's got his... He's got something to say on Sunday.
Thanks for the connections there, for taking the time to talk to us ahead of the big race coming up. So we've heard from the key players. We've now got our experts alongside of us, Paul Larry and David Morgan. David, I'll start with you. Of course, one of the main storylines for the Derby will be Sun Jury. He's won the first 2 legs of the 4-year-old series. Can he take out the 3rd?
That's the big question, isn't it? There was a lot of doubt going into the mile as to whether he would stay. He went off at what was really a silly price for a horse of his class. He's gone into the Classic Cup, same doubts. He's done it again. 2,000 metres, will that stretch him? Who knows? We don't know till he does it. At the moment, you're looking at his last run, where he got that nice sit, he was able to quicken, and that turn of foot was electric, and that could just do it again. Derby's in the past here, the tempo's been a bit on and off, you know. If we don't get a truly run 2,000 metres, then Sun Jewellery is going to be a big player.
We'll speak more about how the race might pan out shortly. But Paul, of course, the top horse from New Zealand, Werther, he's had 3 starts here in Hong Kong. He won his first and then he's been beaten at his next 2. How do you think he'll measure up?
I think he'll go very well. I mean, he's a horse that has proven at the distance. He's won over longer. He's won over 2,200 metres. So if it's a fastly run derby, which it could well do with a few of those horses from the European horses in there, I think he can run very well. He won a really good race last time. He hasn't managed to get past Sunjury on 2 occasions, but he steps up to 2,000 metres. I think that'll suit him more than Sunjury, and he was close up last time. He looked a little bit dour at the end, and I think the 2,000 will suit him right down to the ground.
And of course, an added element to the race is the European imports that have come over, particularly for the Derby. Who's the best of them, do you think, Dave?
Looking at it right now, I like Giovanni Canaletto a lot. The race that he ran in the Classic Mile first up was a good prep, I thought. And then going into the Classic Cup as a Derby trial, I was very impressed with that. The way he finished, he put together the fastest 800 metres of any horse in the race and the fastest 400 to finish. He finished really strongly, got within a length, so I really like him. Helene Paragon is another one. You couldn't discount on his last run. He's coming right just at the right time. That was a nice win. He had some good Group 1 form in Europe, in France. And of those that didn't race, Eastern Express, I really like him. He's a horse that we know he stays the 2,000 metres. He's really shown that he's got that class with his last run in the Classic Cup when there were lots of doubts on his rating. Would he be good enough? He proved that he was. So, from the European perspective, they're the horses that I like.
We've got Tony Cruz with 3 horses in the race. Giovanni Canaletto seems to be the most fancied of them. But could there be a bit of pace from his other 2 in King Genki and Green Dispatch, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think there will. I think in particular Green Dispatch, he led the Classic Cup for a long time, and I think he can go and lead the pace. And then it'll suit it for all those other horses, the stayers, the European stayers coming here as well. Horses like Werther are a little bit dour as well. So I think, and Eastern Express as well, it'll really suit Eastern Express. So he could set it up for a really exciting derby this year.
How do you think the race will be run, David?
It depends on the draw. Where horses are going to break from, that's going to be key. I, in my mind, think that King Genki's going to go on and set a good tempo with maybe Green Dispatch just off, because Giovanni Canaletto does need that. So, I don't know. I'm hoping for a strong pace, but I've been hoping for that for a few years.
Is there an upset potentially in the wings, or does it look fairly clear-cut?
It's pretty hard to go past the top 5 in the Classic Cup because they were well clear of everything else. The horses that didn't race were Helene Paragon. I think Helene Paragon can run a good race. And Victory Magic, although it is a worldwide maiden, has won a race since on a horse had disqualification. So he has technically won a race, but never been first past the post. I think he's got good credentials as well. So of those first 5 of the Classic Cup, the only 2 I could see that could possibly upset Helene Paragon will be in the market and Victory Magic at some odds.
I think I read no horse since 1990, David, has broken their maiden in Hong Kong in the Derby, and that's what Victory Magic's trying to do.
Yeah, I can't see him doing it, to be honest. He's a horse with, obviously he's got some nice ability there, but his record so far says that he's not going to do it on that day. I mean, Blizzard, we can't rule out Blizzard. I think the 2,000 metres will be up his street. His trial the other day on the turf was really nice. He just settled in behind. Seems like a horse that's maturing and figuring out how to settle in his races. And you can't discount him either. So, yeah, I agree with Paul. The top 5 in the Classic Cup, I think they'll be fighting it out again.
Paul and David, your picks and why?
Well, I like Werther. I think Werther's going to have the pace to suit in the race. We've had it in the past that we haven't seen fastly run derbies. I think this one will be run really quite quickly, and I think Werther, with his win over 2,200 metres previously, will have it down to the ground. Sunjury's done nothing wrong. Now, the thing with Sunjury is he's a top rated, and of the European ones, I really like Helene Paragon. I thought it was a really strong win last time. He didn't go through the Classic Cup route, but it was still a really good win from him on that occasion. I think he can run third, and if there is going to be an upset, then I do like Victory Magic.
David, yours?
I think I'm going to have to go with Giovanni Canaletto. Just the way he's coming into the race at the right time. He proved in England and Ireland last year in his runs in the Derby the distance is no problem. We know that on his breeding as well. And the way he finished last time, he showed good pace. And besides him, Eastern Express is a horse that I really like. He's a horse that's progressed through the ranks here. Took a massive step up last time. Will steer the trip, and looks like he's got a bit of class in there. And you can't really discount Blizzard either. The way he ran in the Classic Cup, I think the stamina's not going to be an issue for him. He showed last time with Gerald Mosse on him in a trial on the turf here that he settles nicely. So he's learning, and he could be there again. And if Sunjury's not going to stay the trip, if he's not going to quite see it, I think Blizzard could get in the shake-up again.
Gentlemen, great to have you on board. Thanks very much for your time today.
Thanks so much.
Cheers, thank you.
So they're the thoughts of the experts leading into the Derby. We're now going to get a guide from Zach Purton on how he won this race last year. Of course, Zach has taken out big races here in Hong Kong, also in Australia, in the UK, Japan and Singapore. But one race that had eluded him up until 12 months ago was the Hong Kong Derby. This is his tale on how he won it on Luger.
It's a race that every owner, trainer, jockey in Hong Kong wants to win. It's a renowned race all around the world. It's a race for the future as well.
Luger looks terrific. He's a quality animal, there's no doubt about it. Obviously the 2000 is a slight query, but he looks terrific. He's really fit and he's really calm and relaxed.
He's a horse that's had a little bit of a history throughout his career of being a little bit highly strung and a little bit hard to handle in the barriers. So our concern was always how he would react to the start in front of the grandstand, in front of the crowd. But he's got the pony to take him down there, and he seemed to be pretty relaxed. A handler then came out and grabbed me, and we stayed out the back away from the other horses and just kept him on his own. And he was really good, but once again, getting him into the barriers and having him jump out was always our main concern. But once the gates opened and he flew the gates like he did, that was done and dusted, and we had to worry about the rest of the race.
Dynamism handy on the inside of the favourite Red Kirk Warrior as Luger's caught 3 wide in the early part.
Well, there was just no spot for me to get in. I had a number of looks and I had a heap of horses on my inside and kicking up, and unless I was going to delete one, I wasn't going to get in. I just had to cop it on the chin, and unfortunately the pace was a little bit too fast for me to be able to press forward. They were rolling along at good sectionals through the first half of the race, and when we got down the back straight, I had a quick think about rolling forward to sit outside the leader, but the pace was just too fast.
So Obliterator, he makes it a genuine run derby inside the 900 metres. He's 2 lengths in front of Contentment. He won't mind the genuine gallop either. Then Dynamism in third. Luger, he'll have to be good to win the derby under these circumstances.
I wasn't nervous. It's hard to be confident, but you never give up hope until you hit that winning post. And he was giving me a good feel throughout the race. Like I said, he was going through the motions really nice. He was breathing well. He gave me all the indications that he would give me something in the straight when I asked him for an effort.
They level around the corner now. Zoomion goes for the whip on Obliterator. Contentment sticks on. Luger keeps coming. So does Giant Treasure on the outside.
I just let him balance up for a little bit. I didn't want to go home too soon. The other horses started breathing down my neck probably about the 300 metre mark, and then I started to ask him for an effort, and I could feel when I got to the 250 that he was going to be really hard to beat, because when I asked him for an effort, he lengthened, he found, and he's got such a big heart.
Got Fly giving chase. Luger just in front. Purton relentless here, and he gets Luger home in the derby. Zach Purton's first ride for John Size this season. He's been 3 wide the trip, but he's all class. From the very first day we saw this horse at the races, he was something special.
It was a great deal of satisfaction. It was a big relief. It's a race, like I said, I've always wanted to win, and I finally had the chance. And you know, things didn't go smoothly during the run. I only picked up the ride late, so you've got all those emotions going through, and then everything else that comes with it, and it's just a great feeling.
Thanks to Zach Purton for that insight into his memorable win in last year's Derby on Luger. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. Coming right after this, we're going to be chatting to John Moore.